Show you like snail on a fresh bush into water. Sáré go order your own. Yeah, yeah. Make you go order your own. Sáré go order your own.
Ayé ti wá dáadé báyìí o. Ṣé àwọn àgbà bọ̀ wọ́n ní bí ebi bá kúrò nínú iṣẹ́ ti bùṣe èyí ló mú àjọ adójútèbí ni Àkànní Akànjí Farm pèsè àwọn èrè oko fún jíjẹ ní ìrọ̀rùn láìsí àbàwọ́n kan àti ìnira rárá. Àwọn èrè oko bíi àgbàdo, ẹ̀gẹ́, iṣu, ewébẹ̀ àti àwọn èso lóríṣiríṣi, ẹran ìgbẹ́, ẹja odò, ìgbín àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. A tún ń ta àwọn ohun jíjẹ fún àwọn oníbàárà wa tí wọn kò bá lówó lọ́wọ́ lásìkò àti ra oúnjẹ lọ́dọ̀ wa, ṣùgbọ́n tí wọ́n sì ṣe ìlérí wípé wọn yóò san owó náà padà kété tí wọ́n bá ti rí owó náà níparí oṣù. Pàpàpàrọ̀ rẹ̀ ni wípé a tún lè kó èyíkéyìí nínú àwọn èrè oko lọ káàkiri àgbáláyé. Ẹ̀yin ṣáà ti kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ Àkànní Akànjí Farm 08034564577 àti 09077901303. Àkànní Akànjí Farms àwa fún yín lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́.
To come much later. Let's start. Oh yeah, did you have any kind of music that your mom used to sing to you when you were young? And like the music was more like a music to appease you, to make you kind of calm down when you're angry or something like that.
More of my grandmother, but I don't think I can remember them.
How about you, Mama Ejide? Oh, she said she's driving. Okay. So I've been kind of pressing. Yeah.
Actually, I can speak. It's no problem.
Okay. So, do you have any music when you were young that they used to sing to you that had kind of some hidden aspects of your Oriki and things like that?
The Oriki ones.
Yeah, Oriki, that one for sure. I mean,
okay.
But mostly from my father.
Oh.
Yeah, I even learned the Oriki through my father.
Oh, but does it come in form of like a song?
Yeah, at the end of the Oriki is kind of a song. Like the last part of it is kind of a music, yeah.
Can you sing it, or you don't remember it?
I do, but just the last part, which come like a song, Omo Ashabi Anoye o, Omo Alara Okumoko, Omo Ashabi Anoye o, Omo Alara Okumoko. That's just the last part of the Oriki. Oriki is very long, anyway. I know everything, but that's the last part. Yeah,
wow.
Sounds the music.
Yeah.
That will be. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. So, I don't know why Akara is not coming. Oh, now wow. He's supposed to give the first music stuff, and then we're supposed to use that. Let me try to reach him one more time, or we'll just start without him, and then when he comes in, he will join us. Okay, I guess we'll just start, and then he will join us later. So, the piecing of music, we usually look at music as something done for recreational purposes, just so that people can dance, or when there's a party, people can just have fun and go home, or stuff like that. But music is way, 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 way more than that. Music is, and that's why there's a brand of music that they call soul music. And when something has to do with your soul, that means it's something that connects you with the outside world. And for Yoruba people, everything it has to do with soul. So when you see the Black Americans or people in the Afro communities in outside Africa, especially in the Caribbeans, when they refer to things as soul food, soul music, soul this, soul that, or in fact when you say soulmate, they're talking about things that is branded outside our world, something that comes from outside world. It doesn't belong to this world. It's I'm looking for the English to use. It's strange. It's different. So when a babalawo is doing divination, usually they do a lot of singing. I'm correct, Abi Mama Ejide. Oh, you can't hear me. Mm, oh, okay. Can people hear me? Hello?
Loud and clear. Yeah, I
Okay.
believe I can hear you.
Yes. When a babalawo is doing his divination, they usually do a lot of music. They play a lot of music. There's a lot of background, kiniko kiniko, and then the people behind him, his students will those music because to connect with the cosmic world, to connect outside, a lot of music has to be involved. So when you're born into any family in Yoruba land, there's always an oriki for you, and that oriki is usually turned into a song. It ends up in like a kind of song, right? If you look at our mothers, when we were young growing up, most of our mothers, while they're in the house doing what they're doing, talking, gisting, doing all of that, they're constantly singing. There's always a song that is on their mind. There's always a song that is in their heart as they're cooking in the kitchen, working, or doing stuff like that. Um, so if you look at, even if you, for those of us that are Christians, when they're describing the throne of God, you'll see that they're always talking about musicians on one side holding trumpets, holding those things. So the music, the most powerful man in heaven before the revolt was actually a musician, a choir master, if I'm correct, Lucifer. They call him bright and morning star. So, and if you look at music, is also used to celebrate events or to keep memories. When if you look at the story of the Red Sea, when they were trying to cross the Red Sea, there was a song uh, that they wrote because of the way God parted the Red Sea and made them pass and all that. So music is always like a part of our social. It's a way to store memory. And if you look at the story of David and Goliath, you see after Goliath was killed, you will notice that they started music. There was music that was being played to celebrate David, and that got so jealous. So when you're a victorious man, a powerful man, and things like that, it gets stored in music. Uh, there was a man also in the Bible that they were saying that, oh, if I come out, if I get victorious in this world, in this war, whatever comes first out of my house, I'm going to dedicate it to you. But when he came home, people came out and started singing and things like that with tambourines, And if you look at the book of Psalms 100 verse 4, it says, "Enter his gates with thanksgiving, enter his courts with praise." For those of us, if you look at when we were young and we used to go to all these churches, you would see that what you usually look forward to is the music they play. That's the best part. Because Yoruba is very good with music, and when they project that music in any environment, it kind of captivates your soul. The reason why music is very powerful among blacks in the Western world has to do with slavery. Many of the Africans in South America and North America, they were able to preserve themselves. You see all the sufferings they went through as slaves. If you go in and you see what these people went through, the way they were flogged, the way they were dehumanized, some of them castrated, some of them, in Brazil, they'll put things on their mouth so that they don't eat sugar cane and things like that. In places like Haiti, a slave cannot last for more than 7 years because of the rigorous work they make them go through. They actually end up burning down like a factory or something like that. So what they used to preserve themselves was songs, the songs they used for their orishas and all that. So while they were picking those cuttings and all that, music is what they used to preserve themselves, to preserve their bodies, to preserve their soul. And one of the things that gave them hope at that time is water, because if you look at African pantheologies, right? we equate life to water. Water means life. In fact, in Yoruba they say omi ye. So water means life to Yoruba people, to Africans. And if you look at the way we built our cities, it's always built around the water. If you look at where Ijesha was built, it's around that Erin Ijesha. The cities to the north were built around that Odotin, Abiodun, and then one was built around Ogun River. Then some were built at the banks of River Niger. So you would see that everything about us has to do a lot with water. If you look at the empires that were built across West Africa, the Shongai Empire, Mansa Musa's empire, you see that it was patterned across that River Niger. It was taking the stretch from Guinea and taking it all the way to the northern part of Nigeria, tracing all and if you look at all the great empires that were built, the Baribas, the Nupes, the Oyos, you'll see that they were all done by the banks of a river. So it's the same thing even in the middle. There was the Congo River. They built a civilization around that. To the north, the civilization was built around the Nile River. To the north east, it was built around the River Nile. If you look at the Uganda, those down areas, it was built around the Victoria River. There was the Limpopo River. A lot of civilizations were built around that area too. So you see, when these blacks went abroad, river was still very big with them. So that's why you'll see that most of their songs talk of rivers. If you look, there's a guy called Sam Cooke. He's one of his biggest songs of all time was "A Change Is Gonna Come," and it starts by saying, "I was born by a river in a little town, and like a river, I've been running all my life." And then if you look at one of the greatest songs, because slaves used to think a lot about death, so, because they're thinking about death and all that, they're thinking about resurrecting in a new life. Water was also very big in that context. That's why the biggest song. And by the way, most blacks, you notice that they're Baptists. They're Baptist. They're in the Baptist mission, especially in the American area. This is because of the power of rivers. And Baptist people, in fact, the word Baptist means to be baptized, to be immersed in a river. So that kind of resonates with them a lot. So you see, the greatest song then was "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. But if you look at the lyrics, it says, I looked over Jordan. Jordan is a river. And what do I see? Coming forth to carry me home. You see, the stuff is still kind of going around a river. If you look at Otis Redding's song, one of his master hits, and I think Jay-Z remixed it. Otis songs. It's a sitting on the dock of the bay. Sitting on the
And
dock
by
of
the
the bay.
rivers of Babylon as well.
By the rivers of Babylon. There we said, but that by the rivers of Babylon was not actually talking about Africans per se. It was talking more about when they took the Jews from exile and then brought them to Babylon, and they settled them by the Euphrates River. But you can still that river is so powerful in the way that a guy wrote a song, Long Armstrong. He said, "I've known rivers." That was the title, and he started talking about all the rivers in Africa. You see, if you look at the sitting on the dock of bay, he said, "I'm sitting on the dock of bay, watching the tide roll away." It's talking about a lonely man who gets comfort by just sitting down and looking at water, watching the water. If you look at one of Sonny Ade's favorite songs is Orisun Ye, Baba Lashe. Jesus Mobile. I don't know if you're Gen Z, but the Orisun Ye. Orisun, when you translate it to English, it means where the water. Well, no, if I describe it, when they say Orisun Kokon, so the water, if you look at River Niger, if you trace it to where it comes from, that is the Orisun. So if you look at any river, I can trace it to the source of where that water is coming from. That is what Orisun means. So now one of Fela's favorite songs is tó bá fẹ́ lọ wẹ̀ omi ló má lò kò sóhun tó lè ṣe kó o má lomi o omi ò lọ́ọ̀ta water. you know. Then there was a song about Sunny Ade that says Ojo niwa a ò bẹ́nìkan ṣọ̀tá o. And it must be songs that our fathers listened to. So maybe many of us might not have listened to it. So, but those were the songs that we were listening to.
Should I sing the
Enijiri
lyrics?
and AG
We
is
listen to them at least. We know them being played. Does not probably because we're growing up, so we listen to them by the virtue of them being played. We may not just be sticking the lyrics exactly into their heads, but I can tell you that I know all the tunes you've been singing since.
Oh, and you're not literally Gen Z anyway. So sorry, Mama Jide, you wanted to say something.
I was singing the music. Ojo ni wa
Oh,
a ò bẹ́nìkan ṣọ̀tá o. Ẹni ìjírí lè jí ń pa.
Enijiri. And what is AG?
Yeah. AG is
Ejiri is
good.
Owuro.
AG. No. AG is
Morning
like the
dew.
Eri.
Morning Dew.
Morning
That's
dew.
what I was
Thank
going to say
you. Thank
actually.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you see, it's still talking about water, right? And then one of the popular love songs that we have in Yorubaland is Ìfẹ́ bí èjì òwúrọ̀
That's
látọ̀run
it.
Elédùmarè. Mhm. Bí mhm. It's still talking about water, AG, the dew. It's still talking. It's saying that love like the morning dew. That's one of the most romantic lyrics of all times. If you listen to all those, the song will just come into your soul. The song will kind of. So when you say morning dew, that's what gives life to plants. So when someone is comparing love to a morning dew, you will see that our fathers were poetic and they understand that's still like an abstract in that context. So in Yoruba culture, right, when a child is born, he has an oriki. So usually this oriki is known. I think they give the child. So usually when our fathers were born, they would take them to the priest. Then the priest would do something that they call akosejaye. They will look at the child's journey in life and they will now kind of give advices on how to support the child in life. Like if you want this child to be a great guy, kò gbúdọ̀ jẹ́ orí eku, kò gbúdọ̀ jẹ́ òkété, kò gbúdọ̀ jẹ́ orí áyán. No, okay, I take that Orion back. Well, you get the drift of what I'm trying to say. So when they say, this child is going to be a priest, and for him to be a good priest, make sure that his temperament, or they will look at what will be the cause of the destruction of the child if a change is not made. So they will say, caution this child though, at night he should not walk, because the people that will destroy him, they will get him at night. Or caution this child to stop having temperament. Not when he grows up, the spirit of temperament would always want to kind of attack him. Caution him not to have those kind of things. So that oriki, they will use whatever the oracle says to give an oriki for the child. Right. And another thing that happens is that they look at the circumstances surrounding the child's birth, right? Maybe there was a war going on, and so they all that they look at the deed of his ancestors, the lineage he comes from, and they use that to now do an oriki that is now turned into a song, right? And if you look at all the great warriors, Balogun Ibekule, Balogun, they all had their orikis. Like there was a popular song by Orlando Owo, and the title is Oriki Ojo. Say Èmi nìkan ló mọ Oriki Ojo. Even if you know all the old ones I'm saying, I know you don't know this one. Like Ojo jà nílé Ojo òkìní kan ó jà lọ́jà, then ó wá délé ó wá kọyán. Àwọn ará ilé ò mọ̀ pé Òjó jà lọ́jà, àwọn ará ọjà ò mọ̀ pé Òjó délé kọyán. Èmi nìkan ló mọ oríkì òjò. So it's talking about a guy that has a temperament, and when he gets very angry, nobody can hold him down. Nobody can put him down. But the only person that is capable, Orlando is saying that the only person capable of calming him down is him, because he's the one that knows his oriki. So that's why Èmi nìkan ló mọ oríkì òjò. Yeah. Um, who is asking me to sing? For me, oh wow, I love you. Yeah. So in Namibia, in Namibia, there is a group known as the Himba tribe. So you see, in this tribe, every child has a unique song composed for him, and the song is as important as his name. The song is his identity. So in that community, when a woman wants to give birth, she will go to a tree, and then she will kind of empty her soul, empty herself, and then she will connect to her soul and wait patiently until a song drops into her heart. That song, without this inspiration, if she does not get an inspiration for a song, she is not to move close to a man or sleep with a man or get pregnant. She must have the divine song before she gets pregnant. So now, when she gets that song, she will teach that song to the man that she's hoping will be the father of her child. Then they will go into the room and do nǹkan ọkùnrin ṣe, nǹkan ó ṣe ohun obìnrin ṣe, and then they will lock the door on themselves and get busy. Uh, they will do that, and then yeah. So I mean, when they are completed with that and all that, then the child is born. So the child's birthday is not the day that that child was born. The child's birthday is the day the mother got the inspiration for the song that will pattern his life. So, all through the life of this child, the song is important to the child. They constantly sing to the baby, even while the baby is in the womb. And that's the day the baby is born, bam, the baby drops into the world. They must sing that song. Everybody must come together. So she would have taught all the midwives. That's what they used to welcome the child to the world. So, now, every landmark of his achievement, his birthday, his graduation, his transition to the song, they sing that song. So every human being in the Himba tribe of the Namibian people has his own or her own song. So when that person gets wayward, that person is becoming very wayward or ṣèrànù or things like that. That's the song. Tí wọ́n fi máa pe orí ẹ̀ padà wálé. So when if an evil spirit torments him, when you're doing the wrong thing, it's an evil spirit. It's the song that will be used to uplift you and take that of that spirit that possesses him on her. So this song is similar to Orlando was lyrics that I was saying about Oriki Ojo. Ojo jà lọ́jà ó délé kọyán. Ará ilé ò mọ̀ pé òjò jà lọ́jà. Ará ọjà ò mọ̀ pé òjò délé kọyán. So everybody is confused. Kí ló ń ṣe guy yìí tó kàn bínú and everything. And then Orlando was I say, yeah, I can calm him down because èmi nìkan ló mọ oríkì òjò. So these are you say, well, when our fathers are singing, it's not like the current song where I'm unavailable. They know they see me. No, song is not just for you to just get up and feel the beat, feel the heat and dance. They have their powerful they have their very powerful places and why they're being sung. So in Yorubaland, there is actually a very special family that is dedicated to music. They were born and raised and they will die um preserving music, and these are the Anyon family. If anybody bears the name Anyon, Anyon Wale, Anyon Tunde, Anyon anything, that person was born into a musical family, and that person must uplift music throughout his life. So when you see all these guys, these successful musicians, we're talking of what's his name? Barista. Wasiainde Barista. You see, most of those drums that you see is the young people that do it for him. There was a particular song that was recently dropped by what's his name? Bonsui Fuji. Kí lorúkọ máa yẹn o? But the title of the song is Koloba Koloba. Mosumola, Mobolaji, Mojibola. Do anybody know this song? It's not really out there. And what it's Story mo fẹ́ fọ́mọ yín. Filẹ̀. Bá wọn tá tán débẹ̀. Oh, please, anybody that knows this music, please come on stage so that you can help me because there's a lot of songs we want to kind of analyze. Ejo,
I've never heard this song before, so I'm not
for real?
exactly.
I actually had it for the first time. I think about last month. Well, the title is I think is Koloba Koloba. Okay, somebody in the chat said it's Adewale Ayuba. But if you see all the drums that were being those were the those most of those drums that they were doing in those stuffs they were songs they were done they are the Anyon musical instruments. And so even if you don't know the lyrics of the song, if you don't know Yoruba well, those things will still uplift you. And that's part of the things that you see in the Afro Caribbean countries, in Brazil and all that. They take most of the Yoruba songs that their early ancestors that were slaves brought with them, and they use those songs to uplift their spirits, but they don't even know the meaning of those songs anymore, but they still use those drums. They still those drums bring life to that music. And somebody that was very very interested in those things was Michael Jackson. He was really big into African instruments, but he didn't know how to kind of infuse it into his kind of lyrics, his kind of genre in the Americans, are because they destroyed African influence in music in America shortly after the slave trade, because shortly after the abolition of slavery, when it was abolished by Abraham Lincoln and all that, and these slaves became free, all the music they were using, they now kind of they brought it out. I've forgotten the name of they call the music then, but the way you dance to that music, it's like they used to dance the way the Egungun people, their ancestors before they were taken as slaves, the way the Egunguns used to dance and all that, that's how they used to dance then. And the white Americans started to copy it and all that, and they didn't like it. So they stopped the influence of that music. You know how Americans, when they want to make something look bad, they give it a scientific thing. If they don't want you to eat a food, they will say it has this chemical andros guy. They will give it one funny name, long name, and then they will say when you eat it, this. So they started to kind of say, oh, the way you shake your head when you are doing that music, the way you do, it can give you convulsion, it can give you epilepsy, it can. So they just did everything to socially kind of destroy that influence. But it was really, really rampant in Brazil. So that's why you see, if you see their carnivals and all that, they still roll out those drums that the ancestors taught them how to do. And one of the drums is called the olodum. The olodum is short for olodum is the most sacred drum in Brazil, but olodum is short for olodumare. So now the Olodum drum was what Michael Jackson was using for his song Pig Head. Da, 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 da. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. And when you hear that drum, parara, parara, that was Olodum. That drum came from Africa, and it became very big in their culture, right? So uh now they understand the Anyon family at birth are dedicated to this music, and they're taught spiritually how to listen to the spirits, how they can how the spirits can minister lyrics and drums and things to them. So in fact, it's so interesting that some churches even look for young people to do their drummings for them, because the moment you start to hit those drums, the things you're doing, a spirit has taken over you at that time, and you're actually connecting your soul to a cosmic world, bringing out powerful lyrics. So and there's a to do a drum. There are young people, for them to do a drum, they have to use a particular kind of tree. And it's from that tree that they got their name from, because the tree is called the Anyon tree. So even, among us, I don't know, when we went to school, there are still some people that had Anyon names, Anyon Tunde, Anyon Wale, Anyon this. Their ancestors came from that very glorious family of drummers and singers and things like that. So they know how to effectively communicate with the spirit world and evolve their powers. You need the skills of Anyon, to in fact, Anyon is the father of a guy called Gudugu. So the first Anyon was actually not a human being, it was an Irumole. So it was his children that took over after him. So one of their very powerful influence is in the courts of the Alakpini. Now, the Alakpini is one of the seven lawmakers of Oyo, and the Oyomesi. The Oyomesi is seven people. One of them was the Alakpini, and the Alakpini, the Ayon people are the ones that the Alakpini is in charge of what you call the Egungun mysteries.
The
Alakpini is
real
the
pronunciation is
Akunda creature,
Alakmini.
and
Gbonka or
so
Mokwiyada.
to be an Alakpini, you can only have one scrotum. You can't have two scrotums. So that's yeah. So that, I don't know why it is, but that's the the two balls that a man has. The Alakpini can only have one. So you see, there was a time when your people went into exile. Uh, and the reason was that the Nupe people kept disturbing them. So they had to. At some point, they now sacked their cities and chased them into exile in the Bariba countries. But what they usually use is the Egungun spirit. They invoke the spirit of Egungun, and then the drums and everything, and then they use it to send them to battle. That so when they were coming back from exile, they were not like, this spirit of the Egungun mysteries. We need to know how it works, so that in future when Nupe people come and attack us, we will be able to intercept them with the same kind of energy. So the it was the Egungun mysteries. There's a all the orishas, they have a particular food that they love to eat. So for the Egungun people, their special food is moi moi. Moi moi is the sacred meal dedicated to Egungun. So it was from there that the concept of moi moi came. It was the divination that taught them, equally, you blend the beans, pour oil, pour pepper, stir it, and then take a particular kind of tree leaf. It's not the moment we eat today where they put in funnel or they put in tin cups. There was a special leaf that was used for moi moi. And I don't know if we grew up eating those moi moi. And our mothers knew how to twist that thing. I remembered when went to the village. It for throughout, I never knew how to. You would fold the leaf, you turn it, and then you pour the moi moi inside, and then you fold the other side, and then you bend it. Every time I try to do it, the moi moi always pours out. I wasn't good at putting the moi moi leaves together. Yeah, but there was a particular leaf that is done. So if you don't do it in that leaf, it won't taste as sweet as it's supposed to, without that leaf. So when Oyo people came back, they learned the concept of Egungun mysteries, and they learned how to use that powers to evoke the spirit. And this is usually drawn through music. The introduction of Egungun now started when they returned from exile. So this was the period when Oyo expanded into an empire. They built an empire after they returned from exile, and they built it at a place called Igboho, Oyo Igboho, before they moved to Katunga. So, but that was during the reign of Orompoto. All those Bashorun Yamba. That was when they expanded all the way and built their empire. So this was a great time. So when the soldiers go to war, the Egunguns go before them and they beat those drums. They beat those music, and that music kind of invokes the spirits and plays a big role in what happens, how the battles turn out. So that's one of the things that turned them into great warriors in that time. Now, when Abdusalam became Emir of Ilorin, uh, um, we know Abdusalam. He was the son of Alimi. But before we go there, we just want to talk about two very important occasions when music is very. 1 minute. There are two periods when music is very important in celebration in Yoruba land, because every aspect of our life, if there's a moral, if there's a proverb, if there's a lesson to learn, if there's some words of wisdoms, they usually hide it in music. So there's a popular song we used to sing when we were young. It says, Kini wo fo le ṣe láyé tí mo wá, kàkà kí n jalè, màá kúkú ṣẹrú. That's a very popular song when we were young. And I don't know how to sing it, but it goes, Kini wo fo le ṣe láyé tí mo wá, kàkà kí n jalè, màá kúkú ṣẹrú. It's I'm trying to get the lyrics to come back to my
Kí
head,
ni
but
ó fò lè ṣe láyé tí mo wá? Kí ni ó fò lè ṣe láyé tí mo wá? Láyé tí mo wá kàkà kí jalè má kúkú ṣẹrú. Kí ni ó fò lè ṣe láyé tí mo wá?
hello, hello.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
please can you sing it again? Yeah.
Kí ni wọ́n fò lè ṣe láyé tí mo wá? Kí ni wọ́n fò lè ṣe láyé tí mo wá? Láyé tí mo wá kàkà kí jalè má kúkú ṣẹrú. Kí ni yóò fò lè ṣe láyé tí mo wá?
Wow.
Ayé ẹ̀ má fò lè ṣẹni tí mo ní. Ayé ẹ̀ má fò lè ṣẹni tí mo ní. Ẹni
Wow.
tí mo ní kì máa ń ṣòlè. Kí ni wọ́n
Hmm.
fò lè ṣe láyé tí mo
Ṣelaye
wá?
Timuwa. Wow. So you see that's a song kind of extolling the virtue that instead of you to steal, it's better for you to be a slave. But instead of like you should be repulsive against the thought of stealing to a point that rather than steal, just be a slave. And there's another very popular song that is talking about how to nurturing, like how you can take small thing and nurture it to something big. And it goes like, adìyẹ mi èyí tí mo rà mo tọ́jú rẹ̀ ó sì dàgbà lọ́sàn-án ọjọ́ kan, mo ti hang. Bàbá ìjìdé iṣẹ́ mọ́ orin yẹn.
Ibi tẹ dé yẹn lèmi náà kàn jù.
Adìyẹ, but I know it
Adìyẹ
ends
mi ìyá.
èyí tí mo rà mo tọ́jú rẹ̀ ó sì dàgbà. I'm trying to google it. Okay, lọ́sàn-án ọjọ́ kan èmi kò mọ̀ pé ó ti jẹ lọ. So bọ́mọdé òkú àgbà ní ń
Àgbà
dà.
mi ń
So
dà,
it says it.
bọ́mọdé òkú,
Yeah,
àgbà mi ń dà yẹn.
yeah, yeah. So it's just talking about you can take something from the way it's small, and then you can turn it into something big. That's uh yeah. Okay, somebody say ó já sí kòtò. Lọ́jọ́ ọjọ́ kan ó já sí kòtò. Okay. Well, something like that, yeah. Òjò sì pa. Òjò sì mo tọ́jú bàbá mi gbé. Mi mọ ti bàbá mi gbé o. Ah,
Those are primary school. It's been long. It's been a long time. Yeah.
sorry, it was a call that came in. I apologize. So you see, that's talking but of all the songs that we have in Yoruba land, the greatest song is the one that appreciates mothers. Orishaniya. The nothing. There's no Orisha. In fact, it says Orisha bi Yausi. So all these Orishas, Orunmila, but the greatest of them is your mother, and that is one of the reasons why the of the all the greatest songs Yoruba land has, the ones that are most powerful are the ones that are dedicated to mothers. So if you look at songs like um not really. Okay, when I say mothers, I'm saying for two ways. If you look at one of the greatest achievements of a woman is for her to have a child. When you have a child, it's like you have something golden because you've brought life to the world. You've been trusted with impacting the life of that child all the way till it grows. So that's something that is always usually celebrated in a lot of songs. And one of the popular songs then in the 80s was Ohun tó bá dára mo rà fọ́mọ mi. Ohun tó bá dára kó rà fọ́mọ rẹ̀. Àwọn sọ pé tó bá lógún ẹrú tó ní wọ̀fà ọgbọ̀n. Ìjọ tí a bá kú o, ọmọ làdélé. Baba lókè jẹ́ kọ́mọ wa wọlédè wa. So you're just talking about this is a
Nítorí ọmọ láṣọ láyé, ọmọ láṣọ.
yeah, yeah.
Ọmọ
Um,
láṣọ láyé, ọmọ láṣọ.
Ọmọláṣọ. Nítorí ọmọ you see
Abálógún ẹrú bá ní wọ́fà ọgbọ̀n. Ìjọ tí
tó
a
bá
bá
bá kú
kú
o,
ọmọ
ọmọ
làdélé.
làdélé.
Bàbá
Bàbá
lókè
lókè
jẹ́
jẹ́
kọ́mọ
kọ́mọ
wa
wa
wọlé
wọlé.
wa. Nítorí ọmọ láṣọ láyé, ọmọ láṣọ.
Ọmọláṣọ.
Ọmọ
Ọmọ
láṣọ láyé, ọmọ láṣọ.
Ọmọláṣọ. Yeah. So you see, if you decode that songs and you look at all the things, they said, in fact, the clothes, Asha, it's the clothes cover nakedness. Asha no man bo nakedness in you. So they're saying that the greatest clothes that can cover your nakedness is your child. Omo lasho laye, omo lasho. Mm. Torí ọmọ la ṣe wà, ọmọ dára lẹ́yìn obìnrin. That's another very popular song. My grandma used to sing it. She'll put me on her back then, and then she'll say, I saw one of the videos then, and like, I'm not talking of video on phone, no, the real video that they used to use camcorder to do those times, because I'm not.
ẹ jọ̀ọ́ má bínú, ẹ jẹ́ kí mi náà kọrin ẹyàn kan. Ẹ jẹ́ kí mi náà dá sétò orin ẹyàn kan tí àwọn bàbá wa náà àtàwọn ìyá wa tún kọ fún ọmọ. Òun ni òní ara aṣọ lọ́jà o, ọ̀la ara aṣọ lọ́jà o, ọjọ́ àbákú laṣọ ṣe ègbé o, ọmọ ní kára o, ọmọ ní kára o. Èmi náà tún wà tí wọ́n tún kọ fún ọmọ. Ọmọ òun mi ò ṣùgbọ́n kó láyọ̀lé o, ọmọ dára púpọ̀ kò lè bá ní dé sáré o, bíṣùpá wúlò oko inú olóko àdùn, bọ́mọ bá mọ̀wé inú bí ẹ máa dùn. So orin táwọn àwọn tí wọ́n kọ fún ọmọ nìyẹn. The first one yẹn ni mo like jù tí mo máa ń kọ fáwọn ọmọ mi. Òní mo ra aṣọ lọ́jà o, àlá mo ra aṣọ lọ́jà o, ọjọ́ ń bá kú laṣọ ṣe ègbé o, ọmọ ni mo ra o. Gbogbo àwọn tí Olódùmarè tí ó kù díẹ̀ fún láti pé kí ọlẹ̀ ayọ̀ sọ nínú wọn láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Olódùmarè á jẹ́ kí ọlẹ̀ ayọ̀ sọ nínú wọn. Wọ́n á rọmọ gbẹ́jọ́, wọ́n á fọwọ́ kan pa osùn, wọ́n á fi pa ọmọ lára láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Gbogbo àwọn tó dẹ̀ wà nínú oyún láyọ̀ lẹ máa bí o láṣẹ Èdùmàrè o. Bí gbogbo wa náà ṣe ń bí tiwa láyọ̀, ní bá bí kú o, omi ò tó ẹ̀jẹ̀ ò tó. Olódùmarè ò ní jẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí gbogbo yín o. Ẹ ṣeun, àṣẹ.
Not Gen Z. So at my time, those phone videos don't exist. But the song goes, Torí ọmọ la ṣe wà, ọmọ dára lẹ́yìn obìnrin. That was a very popular song my grandmother used to sing to me at that time. Now, but one of the greatest
Orin Ìjẹ̀bú nìyẹn. Afọ torí ọmọ la ṣe wá, torí ọmọ la ṣe wá o, ọmọ dára lẹ́yìn obìnrin, torí ọmọ la ṣe wá. Wọ́n tún máa kọ mo ṣe mí ṣọmọ gẹ́gẹ́ tèmi yé mi o, mo ṣe mí ṣọmọ gẹ́gẹ́ tèmi yé mi. Bí iṣu ọmọ bá jiná kó má jó mi lẹ́nu o, báyà ọmọ bá wọlé kó má lé mi sọ́rùn o, Urun mo ṣe èmi ṣọmọ gẹ́gẹ́ tèmi yé mi. Ìyá àgbà mi á máa sọ wípé urun mo ṣe èmi ṣọmọ lújàgbà tèmi yé mi o. Urun mo ṣe èmi ṣọmọ lújàgbà tèmi yé mi. Bí iṣu ọmọ bá jiná bí àjùná ó má má jó mi lẹ́nu o. Bọ́kọ ọmọ bá dé tán kó má má lé mi sọ́rùn o. Urun mo ṣe èmi ṣọmọ lújàgbà tèmi yé mi. Olódùmarè á bá wa kẹ́ àwọn ìyá wa, wọ́n á lè pẹ́ láyé fún wa. Èmi ò níyàá mọ́ o, ṣùgbọ́n mo mọ̀ pé màá pẹ́ fáwọn ọmọ mi. Gbogbo yín náà tí ẹ jẹ́ ìyá la máa jọ pẹ́ fún àwọn ọmọ wa láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Ẹni ẹlẹ́ni ò ní gbé àṣẹ wa ṣe àṣẹ.
Songs was when you wake up in the morning and when a mother wakes up in the morning, you pick up your baby and you start to rock your baby and you start to sing. You rock your baby and you sing. And so a song came up and say, Ijo ọlọ́mọ lèmi fòwúrọ̀ mi jó abiyamọ. And do you people know this song, Seth? Have you
Kuluso abiyamọ
Abiyamọ
fẹ̀yìntì.
Fẹ̀sọ̀. Kuluso. Yeah. So Ijo ọlọ́mọ lèmi. That's to say, when you wake up in the morning, you carry your baby, you rock your baby, you sing your baby, And then that gesture is one of the greatest gestures in Yorubaland, to carry a baby, rock a baby, and sing. It's a big aspect of fulfillment for any child. Um, the one I used to sing for my daughter when she was a baby, and I would carry her rocker is Tani Lebi Koma Gbejo, Mogbo Mojo, Pariboto Riboto, Mogbo Mojo, and then it's one of the old classics of the 60s, or even I think 50s, I'm not sure, 50s or 60s. Say Pariboto Riboto, Mogbo Mojo, Tani Lebi. Um, so then there was another Omo King Romo Shiriri. So you'd see that these are all old classic songs before all the like new music came in and all that. But this way, so you'd see that the gesture of being a mother, the gesture of being able to rock your baby, the gesture of being able to wake up and sing to a child, it was captured in a lot of songs, and you can still use it to remember the way it was culturally with our ancestors. And then now, when the children grow up, they now kind of reciprocate by appreciating the mothers that have done that, the fathers that have done that, and you hear songs like "Ìyá ni wúrà iyebíye," and then so you're talking about what your mother went through to nurture you to adulthood, and yeah, oh lóyún mi fóṣù mẹ́sàn-án, oh pọ́n mi fóṣù mẹ́ta. Even to even appreciate a mother is so big that even gangsters, hardcore gangsters in America, gangsters like Tupac, they actually have special lyrics that is dedicated to appreciating appreciating their mothers. Then there's Iya Lolu, something me, oh Iya Lolu, something me, to tọ́jú mi ní kékeré. These are all songs that I'm sure.
Olúgbọ̀wọ́
Oh,
ìyá ló
Lolu,
fọwọ́ mi
jẹ́wọ́
tó
mi,
ń
to
tọ́jú mi
tọ́jú
ní
mi ní
kékeré.
kékeré.
Ẹ̀yìn rẹ ló fi pọ́n mi. Èmi ìyá èmi náà ti mí
Yeah,
sẹ̀.
yeah. So
Yeah, if I remember, I'll go back and listen.
and then wow, then we also have songs uh uh to celebrate our cities, the history of our cities. Every Yoruba city has its own anthem and song. I don't know most of the songs, but the one I'm very popular and I know very well is the Egba anthem, and it was because of one of the big Egba musicians used it in a song, and um, I've forgotten the how it goes, but I know it goes Mayo 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 o, lórí Olúmọ níbi làbí mi sí kiniko, and then but I know the chorus is Mayo, 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 Lori, Lumo. Akara, do you have the lyrics? Akara, is Akara there? Baba mi Akara. Is that
That
Akara okay?
Akara.
Mm, mm. Okay, he's not
Okay, he's
there.
not there.
Oh,
Oh,
Shewambe.
Shewambe.
Mm. Baba Akara.
Maybe he's having a connection problem.
Okay, all right.
ẹ ti ń gbọ́ mi báyìí.
Yeah, I can
Loud
buy
and
you.
clear.
Ẹ má bínú mi ì mọ̀ pé mo ti
Kini ẹ
mute.
wo bákan náà yín kẹ́lẹ̀ wá wá kọ Ẹ̀gbá national anthem àbúrò ni Mr. Kande fẹ́ wá kọ fún wa.
Ẹ yẹ kí Mr. Kọ̀dé kọ́ èmi ò mọ̀
Hmm.
mo ò mọ̀ tán.
Ẹ bá wa play ẹ pẹ̀lú àwọn good music yín mo ti send yín back channel. Okay, well.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí n play ẹ̀ sìn.
So yeah.
Lórí òkè òun pẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ níbẹ̀ la gbé bí mi sí o níbẹ̀ la gbé tọ́ mi dàgbà o ilẹ̀ òmìnira máyọ̀ o máyọ̀ 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 o lórí Olúmọ máyọ̀ o máyọ̀ 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 o lórí Olúmọ Abẹ́òkúta ìlú Ẹ̀gbá mi ò ní gbàgbé rẹ̀ n ó gbé ọ lékè ọkàn mi ní ìlú odò Ọya èmi ó máa yọ̀ lórí Olúmọ èmi ó ṣògo yìí lọ́kàn mi pé ìlú olókìkí o làwọn ìgbà ń gbé. Máyọ̀ o máyọ̀ 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 o lórí Olúmọ máyọ̀ o máyọ̀ 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 o lórí Olúmọ. Lórí òkè.
Wow, that is Egba national anthem. Every city like that has the anthem, but I think the one that resonates with me the most is the Egba one. The Egba song is, really talking about the importance of Olumo, Mayo Lori Olumo, because Olumo was what preserved them. That's where they used to run to when people attack their city and they fight back from there. If you still go there, there's a lot of history about Yoruba people in that area and the things they do. Yes, I'm moderating the song. Sorry, that's why I begged my brother Akara to to help us with it. Mr. Akonde, Shani Godove Sonica to continue. Mr. Akonde. Okay. All right. We'll go on. So when Abdusalam became an emir of Ilorin, he started to work with a few warlords of Oyo who kind of had rebelled against the Alaafin. So every time he tried to so you know the story of Abdusalam. We've said it a lot of times. Abdusalam was the son of Alimi. So wọ́n gba ìjọba Ìlọrin lọ́wọ́ Àfọ̀njá. And so now they're trying to invade into Yorubaland and then annex the whole estate under the Sokoto Caliphate from the capital at Gwandun. Now the warlords turned down their Alaafin. Every time the Alaafin wanted to bring the warlords together. And their fear was that so you see every time the emir wants to he brought a lot of Yoruba people into Ilorin. I told them to help him sack the city, but they would if they do, then he's going to make them new governors and all that under the new empire he's trying to build. So, but the Yoruba people now said, they cannot attack Oyo because if they bring out Egungun and they start to drum, they start to invoke the spirit of Egungun, that they are all going to perish, that they will be doomed. So now, Abdusalam now sent one of his soldiers. His name is Jimba, the head of his security guard. He told him to go into Oyo and invade the palace of the Alakpini, one of the Oyomesis, who was in charge of the Egungun mysteries, and to destroy those powers. So he came to the capital at Oyo then, when Oyo was still in Katunga in 1830, and they went into the shrine of the Egungun mysteries. They carried all those drums, carried all those dresses, and all that, so that they can strip Oyo of his spiritual powers. Now it weakens the spirits of the soldiers of the imperial army, and that was one of the things that worked against them, because if Oyo people went to war and they brought in the Egunguns, and the Egungun people start to do the drums and all that, you cannot defeat them in that kind of war. So they found a new city further south when the, the Oyo became very scared that they were going to lose their Ayon people, their drummers, the people that help them evoke the spirits. And when it's Shango too, I'm going to talk about it in a minute. There's also music they used to bring in the spirit of Shango. So they created a new city down south, and then they took all the scholars and all the youths and all the learned people, those who understood these drummings and all that, and they settled them in that city to save them from that invasion from Ilorin. But unfortunately, that place was close to another rebel city that was also invading Yorubaland, and that was Dahomey. So the king at that time was King Gizo. So Gizo of Dahomey invaded this city and sacked it, and he killed all these bright minds and carried them away into exile. And Oyo became kind of stripped of those powerful like musicians that knew how to kind of invoke those spirits. The culture still exists till today, but there was a vacuum because of what happened in that time. Now, in the imagined days of Ibadan, a great culture kind of exists in Yoruba land. Great men are often kind of, when you're a great man and you have a compound, an estate to yourself, they wake you up with music. When you're going on the streets, people are drumming and kind of singing your exploits, your greatness, the things you're doing, you've done, and all that. So, um, there was a great man then. His name was Ibaliole. Sorry, I was trying to remember his name. So he was from one of the great noble houses of Oyo. His father's name was Olukoye, and he was the father was the grandson of Mbasharun Yamba. And you know that Yamba was one that expanded the Oyo Empire all the way to Dahomey, all the way to the banks of River Niger. He was one that took the Igbomin on land. He was one that expanded all the way to the coast to Porto Novo, because yeah, Yamba was a prime minister. So now, during the Eleduwe War, which was the final war that was fought before Oyo was sacked and then moved to the current Oyo that it was with today, Oliole lost all his family, and he had to start all over again at Ibadan. So there was a great warlord, and who helped him to come back to power at Ibadan. His name was Adelakun Elekpo. So with the support of Elekpo, he created a coup. He did a civil. There was a civil war, and then he removed the great leader at Ibadan at that time, and his name was Lakunle. So Lakunle lost in a power tussle between him and Oluyole, and he died like a samurai. You know how the samurai warriors of Japan, when they've been defeated in battle and they feel like they're going to end in disgrace, they will take a knife and they will rip open their stomach, and then they will pull out their intestines, hold it in their hands, and keep running until they die. That was what Lakonle did. He took a knife, tore up his belly, carried his intestines, put it on his head, and started running until he died. Because and the reason he did that was Oluyole was insisting that Lakunle had to move to exile from Ibadan, or he should be placed to death. And it was like it's going to be very shameful for him, for his history to end with all the greatness he achieved, for him to end as someone that was exiled from Ibadan. So he chose death like that, in that gruesome way rather. So Oluyole settled at Ibadan, and then he became the prime minister. Now, something ever happened that shot him into great fame across Yorubaland, and set his name on gold. And so when you hear praise singing at Ibadan, it's usually said that when they talk about Ibadan, they said Ibadan Luyole. That's how they praise Ibadan. And this was because he was the one who eventually put a stop to the invasion from Ilorin in that war for Shogbo of 1840. He was the one that brought all the warlords together and said that they should found a way to end that war. So it was led by a Bala. If you see Mopo, in front of Mopo Hall, there's a statue of one man standing there. The man is Balogun Derinlo. So he was one that led that Oshogbo War, and that statue was erected to honor him for the role he played. So the Ilorin army at that time was led by a Hausa man, Hausa Balogun at Ilorin. His name was Ali. Now, other-in-law invaded his camp and burnt it down, and then he routed out his army, massacred them in hundreds at Oshogbo. So Ali escaped, but his son was captured, and a few Yoruba soldiers in the camp of Ali, they were captured and brought to Ibadan. So among them was that Jimba. Jimba was like it was the guy that I was talking about earlier that went into Oyo and took all those Egungun dresses. So he was captured in that battle. And Ali's son too was captured, and then a man called Lateju was captured. Lateju was profiting from that tension at Ilorin and was raiding his kinsmen for slaves. And after the Eleduwe War, which led to the death of Alafin Oluewu, he invaded the enemy camp and took a lot of people as captives of war. So among the people he took was Oluyole's family. He took his wives, he took his children, and sold them into slavery. So, I mean, Oluyole was able to get his revenge at that time when he was captured. So, another person that was captured was a senior Yoruba chief at Ilorin, and his name was Balogun Ajikobi. So, Ajikobi told a lot of the secrets of Yoruba warfare to the emir at Ilorin. It was Ajikobi that advised him about how they can invade the palace of the Alakpini and take all those egungun dresses and take away all those drums. So you can see that. So these were people that have done a lot of somewhat like injustice to Yoruba land, and they were punished for this in that war. But now after this war, Oluyole now expanded Ibadan into a kind of prosperous mercantile city, and it was at the time of Oluyole now that a large scale agriculture began. Most of them became big time animal. I mean, he had close to 1,000 acres. Like half of what you know as Bodija in Ibadan today was a farmland of Iba Oluyole at the time. You know, so now he became so wealthy, so rich, had kolanut estates, he had yams, vegetables. I mean, they gave him a special day, market day in Ojaba. And the reason why is because every time he brought his goods, it crashed the market. So we're like, let's give this guy his own day so that the day he's bringing his product, no other person is allowed to bring a product so that prices of markets will not constantly crash. That was how much of a wealthy mercantile produce man that he was. But now, the praise singers, as usual, they started with their wahala. You remember most of us that grew up in the villages, especially Awata, Walati, Boyale, Olorogun, and things like that, right? If you want someone to abuse your husband's wives, you go and pay those drummers to come and be drumming and singing. I remember the party I went when I was young. And you see, these drummers and singers, the trouble they cause, eh? They, so this
It seems Gbonka is not here for now. So anybody that want to add anything, please you can open your mic. Yeah, okay, he's back.
we have an emergency, so I think we are going to have to postpone this session. Probably we'll continue in the evening.
ó rẹ̀ ń pé Gbonka gba call so bó ṣe end ètò yẹn nìyẹn. Ẹ ṣeun èmi náà rí pé a ti rí ẹ̀kọ́ kan àbí kejì kọ́ nínú kọ́tà gbọ́ yìí. Love you all.
She likes me on a fresh bush into sorry what I owe. Baby what I owe. Sorry what I owe.
Ayé ti wá dáadé báyìí o. Ṣé àwọn àgbà bọ̀ wọ́n ní ibi bá kúrò nínú iṣẹ́ ti bù ṣe èyí ló mú àjọ adójútèlé Àkànní Akànjí Farm pèsè àwọn èrè oko fún jíjẹ ní ìrọ̀rùn láìsí àbàwọ́n kan àti ìnira rárá. Àwọn èrè oko bíi àgbàdo, ẹ̀gẹ́, iṣu, ewébẹ̀ àti àwọn èso lóríṣiríṣi, ẹran ìgbẹ́, ẹja odò, ìgbín àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. A tún ń ta àwọn jíjẹ fún àwọn oníbàárà wa tí wọn kò bá lówó lọ́wọ́ lásìkò àti ra oúnjẹ lọ́dọ̀ wa, ṣùgbọ́n tí wọ́n sì ṣe ìlérí wípé wọn yóò san owó náà padà kété tí wọ́n bá ti rí owó náà níparí oṣù. Àbábáyé rẹ̀ ni wípé tún lè kó èyíkéyìí
Gbórúkọ yìí o bàbá mi.
lọ́kà
Ẹ káàárọ̀ sà. Ṣé dáadáa ni mo bá yín?
lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ Àkànní Akànjí Farm 080.
Mo ní ìbéèrè pé ọ̀rọ̀ wa àtọ̀tì àná bó wà ní.
4577 àti 09077901303. Àkànní Akànjí Farms àwà fún yín lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́.